Hi, I'm Betta Hochberger, CPA CGMA, and today we have our special guest, Patrick from Niural. And Patrick is the Enterprise Account Executive at Niural. And if you haven't heard of it, Niural is the number one platform for modern US payroll, PEO, global ERO, contractor management, and bill pay in 150 plus countries, all in one system. Patrick, thanks for joining. Thanks for taking some time out to come on with us. Um, wow. So, all right, Neural does a lot. Yeah, it does a
We
lot
do.
of stuff. And I think, in a modern world, people have got, or companies really have people all over the place, right? So being able to pay everybody all at once sounds pretty helpful, I would think.
Nowadays, a lot of CFOs and leaders of companies have found more ways to streamline their work, right? Long gone are the tech stacks of 20 different things at once. If you can do a lot of things well, you should consolidate for a variety of reasons. It's easier to do for one login for a lot of things. The cost could be of help. But as more people work abroad, either as contractors or as employees, cross-border payments is becoming even more, of a huge product in fintech and in HR. And you know, we found a way to create our own money rails to move the money globally, but also have compliance so that people are getting paid and are under the right local labor laws. So
And
it is
that's
a very
huge. That's huge.
yeah.
That really is, because that's a big deal, right? Like I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, I only know what happens in America. So if you've got people in other countries, like I don't know what payroll in like Canada is. Can't be. You can't expect me to know that. It's hard enough to keep track in the U.S., but to do it everywhere, like that's nuts. So that's crazy that you guys are like work on that compliance piece, not just the payment piece.
Yeah, compliance is everything. I mean, know your company, know your bank are like the mainstays of most
Yeah,
organizations who
yeah.
work in this world. So you kind of have to start from there and then build out.
Cool. So, all right, you mentioned payment rails, right? We have a
Yep.
lot of crypto people. So,
Yes.
can we pay our people in crypto with Neural?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? I mean, as far as US labor laws go, like it's a gray area. No one really offers direct payroll for crypto in the US. Now, for us, though, what we can do is pay contractors and vendors in payroll across any country really instantly through our platform. The way we do that is through connecting like a MetaMask wallet or Coinbase, making the payment, and then either converting that to local currency or paying them in that stable coin. So it is possible. There's a lot of people who do it. The reason you do it is because it's instantaneous. You're not waiting 3 to 4 days for that money to go through.
Yeah, seriously.
Um, Points, are pretty low in fees. I mean, and it's very compliant because it's backed by the dollar. Usually, the USDC is at least. So
Right,
there's a
right.
lot of reasons for seeing this. I mean, Turkey is up to 5% of coins used as a currency today. And
Wow.
it's going to
Really?
continue that way in economies that are, in flux, if you will.
Well, it's a great hedge against like all of these exchange rates and kind of turbulence in the world, and you still have to pay your contractors in whatever country they're in no matter what's going on. So if you could do it in something that's stable, that's certainly helpful. And I would imagine the people receiving it are happy also, right? So you get kind of a win-win.
Yeah. The reason they're happy is because they're not paying a fee to do exchange of currency, right? I mean, you work with some of these companies out there where then you tack on another 1% for that lovely hourly worker in, Istanbul to convert it. I mean, that adds up over time and it can be someone's lunch money. So,
Right. And I will tell you, like, I've in the past used a rather large international company to pay people overseas. And, you talk about compliance. I got held up in like a compliance hell where they wanted something that neither I nor the contractor knew what it was, right? And the company facilitating this couldn't tell me. They're just like, oh, let me restate the requirements again. And it's like, okay, but no one knows what this is that you're asking for. And eventually I had to cancel the transfer. So you're talking lost time, right? They charged me fees on both ends to take the money out of my account. And then when I canceled it, and I got literally nothing accomplished because I couldn't complete the transaction. So something that makes it seamless and cheap, I think is, I mean, it's going to be the way of the future, right?
I'm with you.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, what other cool things? I mean, besides the crypto, because crypto's cool for everybody. But
Yeah, I mean, payroll's payroll, right? The reason people switch off of these things is because there's one of three main reasons. They've had a poor experience reporting or using the system. Someone screwed up their tax filing and they get a report from the IRS.
a problem with your payroll taxes? We've never heard of that before.
All the time, right? And then they come to your team probably with that question. And the third time is just simply cost and what does that mean over time? A lot of organizations will try to add infrastructure costs or other things on top of it. And whether it's, our organization, Niural, or another, like this is a very more modern industry taking over a legacy industry for a reason, right? I mean, we've seen this in a variety of ways in competing other verticals. Something that was done the same way for 60 years can change for good. And so that's our hope.
I never like to use the term because I feel like it got so like overused and abused, like disruption or disruptive. Yeah. But payroll, it's so antiquated, and the systems are so like the traditional systems are so bad that it has been ripe for disruption because it's not that complicated, really. But if you're still functioning like it's 1980, it makes it hard for modern people to use it. So it's a little ripe for disruption. Like it's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's ripe for a variety of reasons. For us, we're built on AWS, so a little bit of a more modern tech stack. Think of like the cloud, where a lot of companies have now gone in SaaS. Mm-hmm. That way has not gone for traditional HR companies, and so like you mentioned, this is ripe for disruption.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about like international. We talked about the crypto, which is super exciting. I guess what other cool tech stuff like do you guys integrate with some of those old-fashioned accounting systems and like that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so another thing that we do pretty well is use marketplaces to connect APIs with other things that are out there. So QuickBooks is a great example where lovely people love to still do their general ledger in it, which we're more than fine with you doing. And you can just use your essentially your keys to log in through our system, do what you need to do in QuickBooks, and it will sync as a one-way sync. But that can be not just old-fashioned accounting. We have things like ATS tracking or more modern ERP systems. And so having the ability to have a marketplace where APIs are really readily available is something that we're pretty proud of.
That's huge. That's really huge because not all companies like they might claim like, oh yeah, we have integrations with whatever, especially on the payroll side, right? And then when it gets down to it, it's like, no, but here's a journal entry, and you're like, really? It kind of goes back to that like it's 1980s technology being used for for a modern company.
Well, it's hard also for financial people to really take into account the 2 hours of lost productivity in a week given towards something like that, because it's like, stay with the status quo, right? But if you have someone who's a consultant who comes in and reviews this for you, they typically are like, you're actually wasting a lot of valuable time here. And so that's always something on mind. And for the viewers who are listening, think in your head, if you can accumulate some of those lost hours, where would that be better placed to?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, let's not like discount the fact that if you need a human to manually enter things, you're gonna have errors, right? It's error prone. So we all make mistakes. It's a little bit self-correcting in accounting because at least like a journal entry has to balance, but most of the time, but it's still the data is already in one place. Like you can just like zip like send it right over to the other place without the human involved, and it tends to work better. So I'm all in for automation and whatever makes my job easier.
Well, I mean, speaking of automation, we've now built Neural AI, which is essentially an assistant to optimize processes and automate repetitive tasks. So a lot of people in HR and accounting are asked to run, bi-weekly payroll runs or get information about general ledger reports or cash requirement summaries. We now have LLMs, which are language learning models, built into the system so that people can just ask a question and, like similar to ChatGPT, get a fully realized report that should be pretty close to 100% accurate. So modern things and tools are coming, whether you like it or
Yeah.
not. The
Yeah, no,
question
that's
is,
great though.
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's fantastic because I will say that like I've needed like even today I was trying or yesterday I was trying to look up something specific for a client in payroll, and I'm like, I know what I'm looking for. I don't know what their payroll system named that specific report to find the thing that I need. And if I could have like a natural language, like how do I find their deductions or whatever it is, and it'd be like,
right.
oh, just use this report because it's in there. Like that would be very cool.
Yeah. Well, that's the reality we're in. Some companies have a little bit been more forward thinking on the precipice of change.
Yeah, it's
So I
important.
always anticipate if you can feel uncomfortable, that's when you know you're getting better.
Out of the comfort zone. Oh, I do love that. Patrick, let me ask you, because you said that Neural is a female founded company.
Yes.
Oh,
Not
talk about that a little.
Yeah, as a multi-founded female CEO, I was the former head of product partnerships at Twitter during the good days, I would say, during the 2010 aughts, if you will. And then started another company called Harvest that was in the fintech space that was eventually acquired by Acorns. So there's not a lot of female, CEOs in general. There's a lot less in fintech or in our space, and so we're really proud that they lead the way for our organization.
That's really cool. All right. So went over my heart a little bit with that one. So Neural's super cool company doing cool things on the cutting edge, using some AI to make our lives a little bit easier. And then Patrick, do you have any closing final stuff you want to tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, you can always reach out to me at patrick@niural.com. That's niural.com. But more importantly, if this is something that you're a space in and you want to learn like what people are doing, whether it's paying just people locally in the US or globally and what is cutting edge, happy to send white papers and check it out. There's a lot of fun alternative conferences out there that I can share your way as well. So definitely recommend, you know, reaching out and I'll be a resource to you.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming and telling us all about Neural, and have a fantastic weekend, everybody. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.